physics, which here physics is based on, in science in general, is based on experience, observation, and evidence of senses. But the metaphysics and epistemology, which lies, so this is the first point, and this is the second, which lies behind the classical physics, actually negates the first point. Why? Because the theory of matter on which it relies, its epistemology, which lies behind the theory of matter, presupposes the notion of experience, which reduces human experience to something which it is not, which is abstracts. And not only that, but it creates a gulf between human subject and object, thus denying human subject access to reality. And if we have lost access to reality, then what are we observing, and which evidence we are relying on? So that's the basic thing, basic problem. And this happens because the theory which classical physics, according to Iqbal, relies on a notion of imperceptible object. I'm not sure. I actually stopped recording at some point, so I don't know what we have missed. Anyway, so far what I have said is, for Allama Iqbal, the theory physics is based on observation and sense experience, but its justificatory theory of matter and epistemology itself is based on the notion of imperceptible entities which are unverifiable by experience, which cause impressions in the mind of the subject, but we can't verify that these impressions are coming from objects because we don't have any direct access to object, which creates a gulf between the object and subject. And this gulf creates a situation in which, according to Whitehead, one side is a dream because my impressions, I can't tell where they are coming from. I mean, I'm claiming that they are coming from object, but since I don't have any sense experience of the object as such, I can't verify that. So that's like a dream. And the object itself, the matter or the events, they are conjecture because I'm just assuming that there's an object which is causing that impression. So basically, the theory which was built in order to justify the empirical nature of physics does the exact opposite, according to Allama Iqbal. It actually undermines the empirical and verificationary and observable and experimental nature of physics. So we need a new theory, a new justification. We need a new, more realistic description of how we experience the world. And for that, Allama Iqbal has offered us a glimpse of it anyway, a version of Hegelian phenomenology. He hasn't named Hegel yet, I mean, in this chapter anyway, but there are indication that it would be a Hegelian phenomenology, as you will see. And basically, this assumes that we experience phenomena, the object. So I experience chair, not the impressions coming from a normal object. And the other thing he will do is that my access to chair is direct, in a sense. So the world is open to me. These are not the impressions. And in order to overcome the gulf between mind and matter, not to create a new gulf, I think he would need to, that's a Hegelian move, to need to claim or prove that there's no fundamental distinction between matter and mind. There's no dichotomy between matter and mind. Because we create a Cartesian gulf fundamentally because we thought that matter is, that's what Descartes thought, that matter is totally different from mind. So mind is thinking, substance, and matter is extension. So there's no extension here, there's no thinking here. So, and the question becomes, how do they meet? how do they interact with each other? And that's a huge problem for Cartesian epistemology. And Kant tried to overcome this gulf through his transcendental idealism. But that transcendental idealism, according to Hegel, didn't really overcome that gulf. It basically they moved one step further, like created another gulf in order to overcome one gulf, which was the gulf between the subject as phenomenon and the subject as its existence itself. So the Hegel's move is to basically deny that matter and mind as two different things. Basically self-expression of the same substance, which is realizing itself through history. And Iqbal accepts a version of it. And he sees in physics, especially in its move towards quantum physics, and Einstein's relativity as well, an indication that matter, that conception of matter as a solid, unknowable, imperceptible entity, which is totally different from mind, is melting away, and we are getting nearer to a conception of matter, for example, matter and its conversion to energy. And the collapse of, according to Iqbal, a strict conception of cause and effect and all those things are indication that maybe Hegel's point that matter and mind are not two different substances, but self-expressions of one ultimate subject, might be true. So that might overcome the gulf between. So when I see a phenomena, obviously my mind is in work there too, but I see phenomena directly and don't create a further gulf, because I know that my categories of my mind, the objects, are in a sense made of the same stuff, or they don't have any dichotomous nature. So that's where he is going to go. Okay, so that's the context or summation of what we have done so far in these last few sessions. So let's see if we want to read a bit more and then try to relate it to what we said here, or just stop. Well, let's see. Let's go back to the text. That's why he is so thrilled by this